Maneva na say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
Onu go through apartheid. It's a country onu called racial segregation. In a country the black man was not raised, was a race, but not a citizen of South Africa. Until 1994, how many of them? Ramaphosa, political act as fine. South Africa was not citizen, but none who passport to that. Boys, yes, and gets home, mommy, no papa. Why not also who passport to that? Because they were not even qualified with the South African population rate. They were not part of it. Now, yeah, sacrifice here was a country. As the only country that went to United Nations and told them, say, until South Africa is Ghana sacrificing, Ghana passport does not go to South Africa. Well, you don't have your black passport first, and then go South Africa. This is how we protested for them. Now, His Excellency, your mama, they are not out of history. They know all this history. Next is South Africa. We are fighting. Yatimako, African, Yatimako, your friends, the UN. Africa pressing the agenda of what? Reparation. And then the resolution for the world to accept said, yes, there's certain crime against humanity. Let's keep place the slave trade. Your mama, His Excellency, was able to push that agenda. Is that not the case?
Yes.
I'm here to see an emergency session. Resolution to be tabled by our president, forcing all the African countries and those who will just vote. So if they will not stop the xenophobia attack, let us isolate them. Have they done that? No. Why haven't we done that? And we're able to force the world. We're able to force the world to adopt and admit. And then France, or prepare. So on the Watias here, UK, they are won't you, America won't you, other countries, they are not interested to pay. But at the end of the day, it has gone in books of the history of the world, say, a certain resolution tabled by the Ghana president, His Excellency Your Mama, which is a great achievement. Nobody could have that boldness to do that. He has done it. Next, whether they will pay or not is another thing. What is His Excellency doing about South African issue? People more Mozambican, Zimbabwean, Zambia. Now you hear his Zambian president. He spoke very, very sad and very angry. So how can a South African attack a Zambian? Where's this of your home? We issued you passports for you to do your political movement. Why today? Why you're lazy now in your Juma? Are we to pay for the price?
Not at all.
Pay for your own price. And yeah, in your money for say South Africa for influential bayano. The ancient is on the loose. Ideally, on one face I want to go to the world, I don't think so about the frontiers and any border of South Africa because Kenya country Ghana that's enough, but we want to hear. And Ghana must issue instructions because if not anything in Ghana, Ghana indirectly DDN Minister of Foreign Affairs attempt. And we have the power and authority to severe her and then cut her off. And then to tell South Africa, made them say, unless the African countries, including Ghana, and let us spearhead it. Tell the UN and the they are near High Commissioner. I'm an nephew. Over the end, you know me problem, Oma judgment, and deal with them. The Amfana Metia, they will not take it serious. Ramaphosa will not take it serious because I hope every year law, I want you change African organization at the AU.
Al-Wahab, where we hear me, Mamma, quick one, not Minyawo, and not AU, they were you surprised as the organization Nankasano. I didn't see any statement coming from them condemning this.
Yeah. I've said it elsewhere, and I've said, the AU must put themselves and their heads down in shame. The year 2026, the year 2025, 2024 has registered the worst massacre, the worst killing on the African continent, and the AU has done nothing to it. Why? One, South Sudan have been fighting. This is the third year. They've killed over how many people? Over 250 to 300,000. About 15 million of them are displaced. What about Eritrea? What about Djibouti? What about Somalia? What about the Somaliland? And let's go to Congo, Republic of Congo. Congo till today. And Tokoma Kuna, RUF, another president called Paul Kagame, one of the finest when it comes to, but then Paul Kagame Paya, or didn't soldiers, Ediagua Congo, Kivu. Any Atanga region or destroy Womu. It is not as if it is not enough. Should there anytime be a Congo Benya problem, no, the next virus uprising that they strike them with is Ebola. Who is causing the Ebola? Ebola is something created that the whites they use that only the countries or more your friends diamond. Once there's somebody Ebola, what they buy no matter catches a monthly emergency response budget. Now no $319 million. Abropono baba beji. Now Ebola ba menko mo kumuntia pie Ebola beji mu. Then they descend on the forest and start to excavate and start to steal. They start to steal the outlet. African Union knows this. Don't they know? Are they not aware? Have they spoken about it? What attempt an African Union? Yeah, Africa more. Are they normal people for solve Sudan issue? Are they normal solve Sudan issue? Are they normal solve all the African countries everywhere? There's fight, there's killings, mass despair. Are they? So they cannot condemn South Africa's xenophobic attack and leave Sudan. They can condemn South Africa's xenophobic attack and leave Eritrea because they also have one of the worst bad presidents and this thing going on. They can't leave South Sudan, the youngest African nation, up to today, the soldiers for peacekeeping. Why can't they? So in Sudan, you know, and you a pretty country, no, and we didn't know, yeah, and talk about him for him. They are all among themselves. They have triggered the war. South Sudan, therefore, they are fighting themselves. Why is African Union? And you have African Union now. They say a useless organization. They don't have the power. They don't have the power, and nobody respects them. Nobody respects them. Nobody respects African Union. Because where your issue and the African Union has summoned Ramaphosa. We have the emergency system. His Excellency is aware. His Excellency, why is that ordinary Okudjoto? My brother, we are advising. Every minister session comes before the African Union General Congress. And there is also a window where the foreign minister can also call for emergency session of the foreign ministers of African continent. Some may come, some may not come. The good number of the countries, you get them. Yeah. All the frontline states, they will come. All the West African countries, well, countries will are affected. It is when you call for foreign ministers meeting, and then you call your brothers, let the voices of the foreign ministers on African government talking. They interface and interact with their South African counterparts and tell them that we are not comfortable with what is happening and the solution is not strong. Your friend said, the declaration. I had turning the table of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. She was then the foreign minister.
Yeah.
At that time, and the fight, your friends the coup. I take it Yamao de Bundumbuya, what to Afakundi or Guinea. Over time said the foreign minister of Ghana, Nairo Kobochi, I followed the emergency foreign ministers meeting. I did the foreign ministers of ECOWAS. And ECOWAS, Odomko Guinea. Have you forgotten?
Yes,
there is the approach.
Sure.
So Mr. Okuyato and the foreign minister, whoever is listening, tell our brother that foreign minister has the capacity to invite his colleagues and call for emergency sessions of the Africa because any emergency sitting here is triggered from the foreign ministry. So the foreign minister can call for all of them. They can invite them to Accra. Let it be Ghana's cost. But most of the country they will pay and come. Nigeria and find the foreign minister and find Ghana make sure and take it into an hotel. No. We can hold them, but they will shuttle themselves and come. Now you know one chance in here and discuss about South Africa. Then we know we are finding solutions. And this is a diplomatic talk. You are comparing the bar. Another 200 so Gadasi and Mafoma. Yeah, and Asia better.
Yeah, but see, I can't see a way. That's a near to be solved. No.
You can solve it. Solve it on the roots. Because you have to go now, Omano. Yeah, or better.
Yes.
Omson a dozen. Not once a woman, once or Assam Kotuna a problem. Sabi, you'll be Kuprana, a mission problem.
Yeah.
Is that how we want to solve our country problem with
Not
the country? Yabwa Omodana, and no. Not at all. And drastically, we should let South Africa know so that they can force the system and stop. Either than that, Ramaphosa is a white South African. And the whites are even better than him in terms of the human rights record. He's very appalling. And every South African knows. Who call impeachment? Who Baba used to a yen as cash cow? Who does that?
Al-Wahab Medasiano pay no adaji. Many of them Al-Wahab, a international diplomatic consultant, or a security expert, and now Meneno Aquacodim Comono, Nese, Fiachin Yabofono, and something in Al-Wahab, were bought Netofano, and we are expecting, say, young foreign affairs minister, Honorable Samuel Kujetua Blakwa, will act on this and affair. So, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, AU will act on this because Yenu no more honor no sabi, Yakawa Hano cry, is here, we are one of my economy no, and shut down to Yaya, ye evacuate to a modi wama back no, send an hour habo can she share any aya to Wamomo. Now, Omo Baby Drew, you know, Omo Badane bed and ever yen so, and now say, you see, there's no plan. Enya baku yo bedru ya Baba Ibrahim Mahama ema nesika SNB cement e Jata cement depo ema ne ya na chese onu so ko bedru en kwaya beden because we kom no kra na ehwefie won na mane no onu aba bedru ha ya wonye nyahwe nyeye obeda na busuafo nso kra didi chese Africa na nkasa no ye yare o ye yare baku kwa no se na mabie phone lines no eno na enya ne tie se abrantie ya one share that more number bia or sorry wakika na dwenchiro bia makacho say obia is entitled to his own opinion but when they come to say oh ka opinion no na kwadane atembie direct ya eno na ye to da bia na ya sefem na koka eno police for invite no man koy the ama make us asem ni bi me na ka menka because onyo obi a wose me ha me ho kra asem ye neji wone ho. But the lawyer no na maybe have me energy one ho. The lawyer na o chicha je no. And no me say one obi interview asempa. Ghana ya wo problem o. Lawyer ni na wono chicha je abrantie no. Yes wono bomu kra sa akwa ntro. But you see, wo de tie we mame. Tie esa video wo be di ka tie ensem na akoka na mu kan ye no. Now, if what's your interview now, the lawyer no, a grant say, you know, would you see a mammy and me? Maybe a phone lines now, also what's me abem.
Send you to be in the me. Make now when he gets power, come up out. So, ma, who school? Case I am one here. Oh, dear, them want to me and Tunifu. Or by report, you'll be a shiwi. Or by report, your family. You do how you are already taking a side. So we end this in okay. Says the police is divided. We understand. But you know you have a family. And you are just an officer, a civil servant. What you are saying? The battle has just begun.
A few moments later.
No, onya tumia obetre boy or said the na boy on so ebusuafo. Now, no, see, on the bush and any chin, say, and now see, as if I find so obey say, it is an encounter, an interaction between or new or no one colleague, and your bufo so near there and Tokabi. But because the word police ever out, and Ghana police force also assume or more taking into that angle now, and also responding to appropriately. He share as the day and you know, the police for the country.
And not just the police mentioned in the video, no, not any police as in. A Ghana police service officer.
Debbie. Ghana police officer.
Boy or no, my friend police.
Boy, a friend police.
Oh.
Obi himself boy, a friend police. Because boy or intelligence officer. And he different intelligence, different police. Different national security. And you know, different. You know, can police, you know. And no margin and no see baby say Ghana police no refer to or no Ghana police any assembly aka na or the national Ghana police force so now at the time okay you be or respected the Ghana police service pa na o share nkita with on Ghana police service one e be ka say more cordial more respectful than to say or be threatening the Ghana police service never ontime nya sade no kra
na in that video at the time na one boy no eyins na boy no wahin na boy no ginachire oti police
boy no ginachire say o share videos ni bia ye call e no say bloggers be ya be hu boy wo nje ono na o ka che boy say boy ahun keka no form because o police e na omo kita hu dey omo di dada and you know to have elevated this to the national level no ya dey we can say but sometimes miscommunication
Well, it becomes so insulting when you see say somebody who should know better. Na nipa na ya na said deliberately no obe twantro. Me kan say lawyer ni o twantro. But me ma dwen kyerɛ me say asɛm na ɔka no enye no kre. Me no nyina ye tie video no, ye nyina ye tie video no ne hwɛ ye tie asɛm akoka kan. Me say koka no ko on deserve my attention. Ko say nkrofo bi wo ho no mo keka nsɛm hu na wo gyae wo mo keka de ombeka. Ko so no ani party panyi kro nya no wan fa spare no. Wo didi Kennedy attempts say bia bi. Enti enye breaking news. Na de ya na me ya ne se Dr. Bawumiama ho kwan masa enkura na wo ma yo madwen so ombeka sama no na ni agye nkomo a wo mu di no ho. Now listen, lawyer ni ne say Koka and threaten police ni no. Me pa cho listen to guy ne words or say ade no hini na ono edidi atam na de mo anche no. Na de ono kwaka emi ni de mo ache no. Na ye bedru ye no wo wa kire se wo ye NDC ni. Nti e say the police no eye divided ana. Na minimu eye den na wo san kra poka say wo ye civil servant. Me be say bibisa lawyer ni say as a boy, you say, why not? Can wasam say, or your NPP internal security, no, na koka no, or your civil servants. Or your civil servants. A young man, was such as say, more better be the nipper, idea, diagro, chroma was say, I don't know, I am who, and as a boom crofwa, and what Ghana had said, or more young crofono would do machine be another say, Mamu Nisa, we are not dumb. Someone call for the bin said, "I'm shallow mind." And you nyina was shallow mind. Ye nyina yet me analyze this asaba obiaka. Asama branch ye kan ye. Eye den na lawyer ni mu a. Unfere. Na nya police for no ade obo. Na one ye internal security ba kwa friend say was say bo house wan edi no krapo say o ye internal den security na ye friend police. Na ukasi ohuru yanim kosoro ho every dabe na NPP internal security ni oya civil servants wona wo si dipa no nya post ni na ne oya internal security lawyer oya internal security ena mo ne call ho na mo kwaduru ye no na abranche na ho keka wo fom no na ho keka na wo fom no insusanso ben na wo case no so obi akwakoye case ati obi ene ya chi ni pakro na mumu nyina amakọ ho enti na ahokeka be na ka koka expert say bo house bo na say bo house me I don't even know the name then na ka koka expert say onye but statement our car ya no say ye bedru ya no what da wodi a kire say wo ye NDC ni na ye den na mo party internal security obekwa akwaya no wo so ye NDC ni is it adding up? No. Is it adding up? Lawyer enokafo akwa or something. One kasa we are interview now when you be here no koko bonetie. One listen to yourself and be honest to yourself. Senti asema no me kan wo radio street inti asemi na enokre pani. Because kwaka refer to nipa na no ne kasa say we are civil servants. You are just an officer. That is the word he used. I say you are just an officer. So you are civil servants. You didn't be our mawa. Share asem na eba na ye say ho he na. Ebi awu na ka we lawyer ni no wa be ka asem na de nsu agu asem no so. Na ebi apost ni no ko ye involve no. Wa ka asem ya che say oh we kweka wa ka ne kwa wo ni re. Wo ka bibi to make asem no so. Asem no kwa he didn't mean it. Ebi ya bufu ana out of frustration and or the ka asem no. But to lie on top of it. Etu kwakwato a we na de be kwakwato sana one mu internal security ni ena ekasa eti ye bo video ni ma e wo court ho ni e ka cho say wan kasa interpret video yi e kire say no one internal security ni ena ekasa. How will you interpret it? There are 3 strong words e wo video num. Or say you are just an officer, one word. Or say mo pa say police no aye divided. Number 2, the autonomy and say, so we are civil servants. ansa no aka me ni baabi se ye ni baabi a wo ma wo ye nim se nti e den na se bo house bo na wo se hwan na wo ka na asem se oye mu internal security ni na mo ne koye na ho keka no wo fom eti aho keka be na ka ko kape so hu wo sa abrante no ono onye police onye investigator onye court ye ka na se worker eti den na ka o person wo ye you think you are case no abeka say we to radio so na wadwon say yemo yensem ba and no when I was listening to the man me obi the try video no na jam chance on it or on social media and I'm like lawyer ni ne kan sa asem we and the client no ni video no won montie asa madwen ya mo say Ghana fo ni nyina te say mo nkrofo na edi machi no eno na man na no abaya ye o mo chi na eno ampo me ka say me kura na minim say abaya no kura so me kura wadidi matem da wo. You see, because those people I don't follow them and I will not even get access to their videos. So you will insult me and it will be on your page. And one more follow on the behu me who and obi obey me be also ni nyansa to the stand they say uncle for say video name fast say them say me hwe so obi didi matem. What you say? And no me say eye hwampo me say MPP mpanyifo bi obo wa Ashanti region. Oh me refi atenko kasa wo ya kan say nkrofo radio esu. And I akra no oya janka o. And akra no what say na ne papa kra waja no. And akra hey yeah, Radi Nyankopon. Yeah, Radi Nyankopon. And to say na mo be mo party, much as abuda mo ma say, mo be say party now to the sense mo perceive Dr. Bawumia be president. Ade MPP for ye no. Enyo obi na ye omo. Omo eye deliberate. Say ade no kwa say Dr. Bawumia no ya fa na ba o meka bibi. Say wo ye say do free esirabunti ene ye to abatia no. To de ye fa ne mra ne ma ni lusu. Because where the afanyama keye, where the upon cromeye, what they are the cocofuye, what they are the sampai moye, what they are share, where the Asimquadia from Paul, where the John Bodumoye. Check all the leadership, share the Nabi, share Abra Papa Bacono. The first vice was a second vice that Wakasa. Look at their attitude, look at how Wamoyama, they are making the party more unattractive. Just one more good party internally no omo aka say party no say na be about me to be your president ade no omo ye no you people you think say ya na ya person about me be president irrespective say Dr. Bawumia or ye incompetent no ade ono ade party for na ye no they are making him unattractive say eno me tie lawyer na me si ewo ai Debbie panyi pa lawyer ni asama ani da ho sei adabraka enye ye nyina na ye damp saa o nye ye nyina ensam akoka keka wo krom ha metimi aka se wakeka de boro de omode invite ni kura so ba wade nam krom ha na no nkrofo si o wakanya sasem kakra na me se de ben wonu awa hu se nkrofo no se de wo mo aka so mo ho no wo mu di nsem hu no dodo nti na bia okeka sa ansem no munya no na lawyer ni mu ana awo so abegira radio so awo se keka wa wonim se asema wo kenye no kɔ me hwe video yi kura metimi analyze video ye hu se de na bia abɔhye ba wonya police ni Samson ti we wonya police ni na me gina ha camera da me so hwe ba bia Samson ti na ma yere me ho ai so ye CMG waka keke wo ye be hia wa abonten ho ne ye be duru ha no wa kire se wo ye anti CMG na fa de chie ne ye bisa mi amesuo enye Samson na me ne kasa na na odike so odike de ono onye adu does it even make sense me wa ma mention CMG of which Samson is part of CMG ade chie ya mesuo da bi enye Samson na me de odike na kura na wokasa asem we ya kire nti obeji adi. One mention you are just an officer. Listen to the words or say you are just an officer. So we are civil servants. Ye bedru ha no wa kire say we are NDC ni. Eye den na MPP ni be ka kire ne yonko NPP ni say wo ya wo ho say we are NDC ni. No, does it even sit well? Why are some lawyer ni ka o? Obi o ka kire say na yankasa ye internal bodyguard na Abranto na very intelligent part obi afre no police aso dem kura na edi nkomo oh eya me yama ba omi a kwan amode ba omi e fa so na eya me yama no ono amu na ankasa no ye incompetent enti nkamoa na kawajamu be ne hu dede no waye popular kakra ese mwatwa mo ho ama tiktokers ne bloggers no kra mo yo mo popular che mo akasa mo candidate no because abo tenasi bia mo bloggers ne na mo di mo ho nkobo forgetting say you have a candidate to sell nyame hu mo bo
I'm yet to see
what problem no
what problem say wow citizen na wo boka who ko fa ni 300 yeah you ko fa 300 ne ba a voluntary repatriation
yeah
nhwe say yanko ani tisia plan ben and ya wodi ma wo that's ben and on the kofi
yeah
emergency service ben at their tour even though say ni penalty access voluntary repatriation yeah you will see a shock on your face say ebibedu airport no also ni study kofi ebibedu airport no now they can no dwan here no okoye waba continue kofi what is the government going to do have we planned that you wait and see countries so my voluntary repatriation even Liberia come better over 10-15 years 20 years down I did a voluntary repatriation you and befa almost from Bujumbura Domkwen Omdom Podu airport Omdu and every time can say you brought me I have nowhere to go. And the government change your moments now. We are going to experience all that because you can't bring 300 people and expect them to say, oh, we need to be free for Takofaka Kufi. Kumasi for bus are ready now. Wahab region bus are ready. Takradi bus are ready. Makango bus are ready. Tamale bus are ready. How are we going to send them home? Okay. Are we going to line up and give money to them? Then you want crosses on the street. So at the end of the day, and this is a dicey situation now. Any problem at Yadiama Ghana government. The government should say, or your batampa, then I'm in call for Hunchum. So what do you have to respond diplomatically? Call your high commissioner. Call him. South Africa, at the end, no need diplomatic idea. No, he ensure the reactions because Ramaphosa cannot use Africa for his political gains. And the long and short of the story is that South Africa has no problem with xenophobic attack and xenophobism. It is as a result of their political inefficiency, their governance inefficiencies, and the fact that from 1994 to today, they have not added to even put a 3% stock of employment. And Waja boys in good street. So who tells them the history? Malema tells them the history. They decode him, and he's been saying it. So don't follow the political system. They are confusing you to misbehave. Yeah. Before I leave the public, I leave you. Mumuta said. Get now or trigger that action, no, that activist, no. They are what to say action, no. Yeah. Hello, yeah. Hello, yeah. Hello. Hello, yeah.
Hello? 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 Maybe say Al-Wahab better me can come in and wrap it up on that. Because I buy no start at the end of no. Mente see ya channel, me see ya channel ne ka ho asem dia but me say Al-Wahab ahoma no betom back na ya conclude on that angle. Na cha say wo hwe de Al-Wahab acheche mu ache yen ya. Ye betimi aka say AU as an organization no and na wo mo afeli because Omai is a member of the organization. It is Omo Crawford one Crawford man so na yem pamo womo na ye Crawford hona so mo Crawford sorry say wo mo mpe wo mo okrom wonom dia. Then say Al-Wahab ka no a responsibility for the AU say ka on be act on it. Wouldn't say na no na AU dey. Na no AU dey. AU dey no so crampo no mo ye west. Enra dia mesinsem hunu omudi wo ho de na nya asem kito o omu rewran crofo shop mu a de o mehu bia no o mafa ena mo sa fa hu no mo de kro no so asan ka ho ya asem a misiko bibini tani Al-Wahab ba kire mu na chese aban no felie na wo hwe na se ebe kwatia na no wa hyeda akwa hyehye enkrofo bi achi no ma create sa situation no e wo kroma na se wo de afam wo ye bi pan e no wo de fam no wi ni ye won sa wasa satia ye biem because wo nim sese wa anya sa kroma fo na dwen be ye ne se wo no mom no wa feli a wantimi ammo ne homoden African Union yenso yete ho ene yesoso ade aba ko a Al-Wahab aka mani age ho ene se o se nka by now e wo senka aban no wa call your ambassador no back to Ghana nanka asserting a strong record among say ade na air course no even in diplomatic space no nya de aye bojo so nanka ya reaction na ye kan say Ramaphosa betibi e de amaye because papa nankasa no o kasa na numaso maka wa bonten ko na ne actions so nko asemi ba ye as the president of the land wa granting interviews bebre ya press conferences and then some wa kan nyina one or the other no o person mani looking like on for the air course no so but what your history ene Al-Wahab dia man na say underg as papa no shase o underground and na o me man crofobia kutupa o shobu kutupa ene o moye ade a wo moye no ye bom pa ye se nyame behu ye mbobo na de man kasa no aha Al-Wahab na wo bisa se Al-Wahab timika
ya
aha na me kasa abaya na o sha se ne se de na wo ka no maintain se ya che no de minim se sa news no aba and na maintain ya
it is something I was expecting. I was expecting say your youthful dynamic Minister of Foreign Affairs. Some of these things Ghana have a banter talking nonsense against our minister.
Yeah.
I expected His Excellency Honorable Kujata Blakwa, Honorable Foreign Minister, to have issued a statement that girl is never allowed to enter Ghana. That is how you issue instructions. Every Foreign Minister now we have a national. Now commenting who Busan said on San Krum on man in call for and then they will stop coming to South Africa. A girl, Namimusa said, the girl is not a governor.
Yeah.
The girl is not a mayor. The girl is not even a popular musician. She's just ordinary social media activist. I know her. That girl is not any municipal city executive or anybody out of South Africa government role.
Yeah.
How can such a person have some people with him and be moving from one shop and one office and to hospital to another? And nobody has called that idiot. I'm sorry, without any reservation. Nobody has called that getting into books. I expected on our part for South Africa embassy here to have a message for them that particular girl, this is no modern world. People know her name. Her name is all over. We instruct Ghana that girl is bound to come to Ghana. That is what America would have done to you. That is what UK would have done to you. That is what Holland would have done to you. That is what Nigeria would have done to you. Yeah? During the COVID time, BBC here, Buhari, any the UK. Now British Airways, Edin Nyansa, because the African Yajimi. Now on only in the plane, Nigeria for a war, Akoka UK. I almost compared from Nigeria, COVID. Now bring UK, Waboma, no Domaba, Abuja, Namziko Airport. Now Boma, no Domuko Lagos Airport, Mutala, or British Airways caught twice a day, and we're making it thicker. Every time, no. And a Nigeria flight, Arik. Omsi Omagin said, you have to see about that take advantage because Nipan be a trap or her. Be a trap when you have to take it. British was a daddy. Johnson was a daddy. Oh, Mama, okay, and Buhari said, I then Namu play the Abamo, the Amon for COVID. Yeah, the Abaha and the COVID. Okay, Martin. And Buhari to tell woman. And we'll make you sure that British Airways need 2 flights, Baku Lagos, home to 2 o'clock our UK. Baku ko Lagos, Baku ko your friend is saying Abuja. Like a way landia, 30 minutes away land. We are matter for no more. Okay. And to a China, mo do Nigeria airspace. Omuamu. Do Nigeria airspace now. And His Excellency Buhari issue instructions. That the Nigeria Aviation Minister, and the Nigeria Aviation Ministry, and the airport, and Nigeria Air Force. Well, be makwai ama a yes, you go to jail. So they have to communicate to British Airways. The passengers now boarding that they can return them to London. So Okaya and San and Kombetua and Koma Moka.
Yeah.
Now here's the case. Also, the only thing you are allowed to say, Omba maneuver a year circumferencing, Omba fly, Omba penny, and in the air or Nigeria airspace, yeah, fine. But to come to Nigeria, even with emergency, if any of the aircraft are in emergency, Uncle third world country or next country, about the foreign citizen, this is how Buhari solved the issue with British Airways. Either you stop or we stop, but if you stop, we come. They allow Eric to go. These are some of the things and how you harshly solve a nation's problem. And His Excellency President Mahama, say I confirm you am 300 number. You and I know.
Yeah.
Honorable Kujato, you and I know. Say Ghana and say what South African. They are more than 5,000.
Exactly.
They took off 300 number. Obiwo Blanfontein. They go on the good Limpopo. They go on the home Pretoria. Omomo Eastern Cape. Omomo Port Elizabeth. Up to Port Alfred, down Port Alfred, in the villages, in the mountains. And she said, "Well, yes, Diana. What's in Nigeria? All governors, you heard them. Ghana and are diplomatically. We don't do that in our parliament.
Yeah.
All governors say anybody that touches Nigeria, Nigeria should fight back. So I mean, we cannot talk like that. Parliamentarians will not do that. But not that we stand there. A life is incumbent on the next. If not anything, the African Union. The intimate bring it and for Ghana, South Africa, Ramaphosa government said, how can the president stand before the public and condemn the action and did not condemn the person who started it?
Who started it? Sure.
How up to today, South Africa wanted to show that the government is not part. How have they not arrested the guy? So you have empowered them. And they use it as a conduit for her to start. And then authority no hospital. Now Obi for phone. Obi General no catches foreigners in this hospital. The doctors look at that. Police force our hospital. Security force. Doctors need stabilize you no foreigner BMC. Can you imagine? And most of these foreigners are also fee paying. They are paying costs. Let me call South Africa. I pay costs. May call for any free medication.
Yeah.
He's saying, on what instructions was he talking? How bold was he? Have you heard say Yachi movie?
Debbie.
Have you heard Tadi disgrace on the face in the MPZ woman to show as a deterrent? The girl is still going about, moving about overnight, and she has become the most popular girl in South Africa. Very popular now. Because when I triggered the xenophobic attack, you know what they do? Namusa will be said over a few Nyama. Yamacha rent 10 years. South Africa committee rent 2 years. The chair rent. And I'm doing Nyama good shop. Now we do Obiaba. If you run a Jim Sika, our member. And this is our Baba Pamia. If you run Tempsika, the man you mean Yamana.
Exactly.
There be Omon Panisao. They bring the person. This person must continue from here. Then that's the Malema is asking, said, the moment continue, and Yamane woman, one and out toy, and a two rent, and you're now try, and two barber will be rented. So, can any government in this world, our court, our police in this world, allow that to hold?
Not at all.
And then most of them now, Omagi home shops already, hairdressing salons, gas and home truck, we say, Omakuya, machines, Omina vandalizing. What has the South African government got to do? Diplomatic speech is free of charge. You don't pay for it.
Yeah.
A president can stand on the podium and talk, excuse me, nonsense. You don't pay for it. But when it comes to initiative action, it is payable. And what action has the South African government done? Has he paid those people doing that? He hasn't paid them. Not politically, not punitive, not legal, not you don't pay OBR. And how would the guys not be encouraged to go ahead? For Nigeria, for my Opia woman don't be Anthony, St. Anthony area, Sabi, I just said downtown, will be at African Union. We know be at ya, we neighbor, we are Ghana, we are South Africa, young nan yet 777, young nan yet Zanzu. Now, we know to me story, says xenophobic attack, will be an national, while when the bow, the Banya 20 years or no baby ago. Can you turn around to such a person? What Dina works here, you know? Running in the map because of laziness.
Yeah.
South Africans cannot see it. Nema Kwajima apartment. Nema see it. Now what you call first floor, second floor, ground floor. And then you come here and hire a room and look at how you. How can you talk like that in this part of the world? So yes, need them. Don't know, but they're able to remove the people and go and sleep in the room, enjoying the rest of the person's rent. What government says in this? I am a better woman. What government? And the bit I talk about diplomatical and action, and then not condemn the operatives and what they are doing on the ground. What you make to be a agent that they are unfortunate. South Africa government is make to be a agent shop here. Go back to your shop and the police will protect you. Look at what be that. And what are we talking about? His Excellency, what for you and I resolution? This is the resolution I want you to table. You and your colleagues. In no time, very time, thank God, we see you on the throne of the African presidency of the African Union. Is that how we are going to sit down and look at Africa to be massacring Africans? Would that be what you do during your tenure? Answer is no. So if the answer is no, you have to act today. Because Nigerians were very jubilant. They were jubilating as you said. You came out to talk because Tinubu did not speak. So if you spoke him, please, let's move with an action. Monkolo, the South African membership. Either than that, the Cameroon is fifth. Gabon is fifth. Gabon, they are not doing a law. That Gabonese, because South Africa. When you have a problem, don't go to the embassy. It's on your own parent, your own fault. Because no, I want you woman. Wakofa bida. And look, only a handful. Gabonese don't want to cry. Handful. Wakofa woman or catch you say. Gabonese be out before South Africa. A problem, a wild problem. Look at the Cameroonians, all Limpopo. They have established far longer than the Ghanaians. One lady Kakra called Limpopo, not Ghana for 100% South Africa. And see, and Yamana Kosono, our approach, our diplomatic approach, to me, is too slow. The response is too slow. Okay. The African Union will not do anything. The ECOWAS by now should have spoken because the ECOWAS member countries are more. Next to the frontline states. The frontline states, Zimbabwe, Mozambique. Mozambique is a South African and Mandela and baby tonight. Oma Omina baby tonight. And on the ANC. They were definitely.
Ghana. Okay.
They're coming in Kumabwa.
Hey, there be now have a kakra.
Oh, there's Ghana 1 year I am a mobile.
Oh, we are mobile. Hey, you don't put the eye of you. All right, anyway, I'm a one fish yapa. Na Allah as say when we are mobile. There was our coin, so. All right. Me pacho anope me pese jase ne oyema yeda no yesua de kakra enra me hu a very terrible video ewo internet so achese otumi se nra yese ye nuanom South Africa for afede de omo ye ne se Canadian no omo ye na bi omo bubo ranko for shop mu a no omo yiyi mu niema enkofo adan omo tu omo free mu ne ade ba ye ni kan hyase asemi ba ya che ye de hu komo bia adanti na at any point in time who more no what South Africa nko ade wo ma sori se omo pam obi afi wo mu krom.
Yeah, I'm in chair, chief. I find it very absurd. Say you say ENRA AUD and I say African Union D.
Yeah.
I'll be very harsh and use the stronger words, which normally is not my way. AU is one of the most useless organizations of the world. African Union, which we are all part. African Union, in my view, and they said, a congregation of 56, call it 54 because there are other main lines, other lands like St. Anthony Maumon joined.
Yeah.
But are dealing in 54 countries. Yani the biggest organization of the world next to the United Nations. Yani the most populated organization of the world next to United Nations. Yani one of the oldest apart from the UN.
Okay.
Any organization on earth. Now over check now share the members. And the bigger continent. any the bigger youthful population in Yamanema. Now you should buy any you ask yourself what organization that would belong to. I'm saying all this because South Africa is a key ally, a key member, and then a strong member of the African Union.
Yeah.
South Africa, in 2002, the Durban, the queer friend Durban, could change the name as you and I used to know, OAU, Organization of African Unity. And then when they decide to modify them, the African Union, to have a more organic and broader sense, because no say OAU and share that Nyaman institution and to modify no, not any new energy. As I said, they will product to be rebranded.
Yeah. So
they rebranded the African Union or Organization of African Union to African Union. That was Durban. President Kofomo na yes President Thabo Mbeki and another certain president on the GC in Naso. President Obasanjo, President Olusegun Obasanjo, President Mugai. These were the ranking members of the African Union. What was the killer of the rebranding? Your charter, your declaration, your name, Yadida, Ayan Sanya, or your son, you come, free movement of the national citizens of the African continent. And to me, means will be without any problem. Anything, right of stay. To enable me to meet my South Africa as an African citizen from Ghana, I could pay resident permit without any hassle about the global village. Anything, right to do business among ourselves. And no, and I find that chair cry a big developer Attàcks. And yet they white elephant Attàcks, ABC Accra, Abra Togo Ghana for any business here. All these things were taking place, and that it took place in South Africa. Durban. And especially immigration. Over year 2002, Ghana by only Kenya, only some few countries. Kenya be in the border. Emma, some of the countries say do airport and San Juan visa. And I say country which is Ghana and Obi and home visa free. Ubi airport kwa Wunchia. Other countries here, Ghana my border say Africans can enter Ghana and take visas on arrival. Countries they no more visa free here or move them on the visa or airport. South Africa, they never opened even where the laws were enacted. As we speak, on in Nigeria, only more or less any visa. But here is the case. Useless because up to today, His Excellency, your mama, and Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa. They played a very nice role in this. But this is how we solve diplomatic issues that involves young nationals and part the account to go in Côte d'Ivoire. So who was that problem with? Now Saboka, your coffee and 300. Before said country, because we have voluntary repatriation for 300 people. Our nationals cause they are trapped because of the conditions meted out to them. What you do is say, that country need diplomat or crew. Said the own pound. But dear was South African. What for so who say when you are there, dear, oh friend of Maneba.
Back. Ambassador no.
Yes.
Okay.
What friend say when you're there, Omra. Now with the foreign service personnel, the Omo. Organizing to announce to South African government over this. I am not happy. Ghana is not happy. We are bringing our ambassador, head of a high commissioner back so for consultations. Now we have foreign service HOC for head of consular service. Any Omar Kanu Jomho, Omit my organization was because at the end of the day, Omar and ambassador and senior high commissioner. Omo Diana Wahan. No, what Jan now can not sure how they will react. Nemo Nigeria 1 year media. South Africa ambassador high commissioner in Nigeria. What that you hope? Nigeria high commissioner in South Africa. What that you hope? Gambia. What that you hope? Nigeria or Al-Wahab. So if you look at this from all these points, Tanzania issue strong warning. Also, South African citizens cry But when Timmy has fairly South African ambassador, High Commissioner, and on fair or not so media. I'm taking this sequence and series for us to understand that the approach of the Africans and the African Union members over the South African issue. Nelson Mandela went stays on power from 1994 up to 1999. Owie na tabo mbeki besu omono. Mandela be free mono, not his presence. Mandela free mono. Tabo mbeki atam enom de start here. Tabo mbeki time enom de start is Xenophobia attack. First one. And send a Zuma back to back. Zuma Habu too. Cyril Ramaphosa the third time. And look at the sequence. Yes, Mandela ebeji free abrofo nsem no. Na the whole world me no me ebra no mapum. Nti ese na ulma no woye na djuma. Na djuma obaye no. Of course, when man create employment, because no ntimi one or better or reconciliation and then reorganizing of the South African institution. Our ma so South African for or say my emfa ba ni sika ni abrofo na ti do my yenti dabi. Name of institution no yamfa asu yehunwam. Eno adwuma no obeye ye. Enti papa no brave so wa dem 27 years. Waba out be 2 years. Wata be leader for 5 years. He was commonly tired and was the matter Bombeki. Tabo Mbeki bae no. Enyama na ese nkoye. Enyama na so di gugu akwam. Na South Africa fo enya nipa tuntum amoma public and government civil services. I had the police. Ebi I had the hano. One would have expected say nyama besesa. And no mutisi mu politics ni ska wi ani ska die. And when the South African youth started to attacking no. Tabo Mbeki and diverted the attention of the black man or the black South African said Al-Wahab. That's how what the girl said in 2000, in 2001, 2002, leading to 2002 more, and then Tabo Mbeki first term no. How many? And I know now Ghana phone starting cohort, now Nigeria phone starting cohort, a chair answer, and Uncle for starting so much. Tabo Mbeki didn't solve the issue of xenophobic attack because they diverted political attention of their laziness and bad governance. And this is South Africa is the only country on the African continent now our budget surplus. Our budget surplus, the budget tebika abrofuni jeska heavy and on baby discano. Tabo Mbeki na start here. Out of that, any inefficiency. And Jacob Zuma, who was also a militant within the ANC, the woman and a militant, Mozambique, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Ghana, Ghana passport, Tabo Mbeki, Jacob Zuma, any Oliver Tambo, Watala Susulu, Maria Makeba, they were all using Ghana passport. They were all using Mozambique passport. They were all using Zambian passport. They all used Zimbabwe passport because they were not part of the South African citizenship. I'm talking about the ANC then. Okay. Zuma Bayano. Zambia or Nubenya political upheaval, any problem Biano, no matter trigger. That time no the started Jacob Zuma. Wow, what's in Mozambique? Now you're militant and ANC for power appetite system. I'm only woman to survive whom could do dona. That about business are Rijmon Neka. Any rap a Sarah Ramaphosa way. No now exile. And also this stage here. And when started that time not gonna need and come Nigeria. Omuhani say Nigeria for Jumma, Omuhani say Omatoka Moma, Omuhani say Nigeria for say Omuya drugs Yesi. Isn't that the police? Omujina ada yekum Nigeria ni ba menka no onyema yi ni ba ekum na police pojina they were nothing. South Africa has one of the best security and policing system in the world in Africa and can compete with most of the European countries. Yemusa said xenophobic attack. It doesn't start from a day. It doesn't start from a distance. Sure. There were internet and crime youth. When you're Gen Z, this is not a Gen Z. This is the serious South African adult program. Anytime, president, Ubakaya Zuma, any problem. I'm here vote of no confidence. First one, the Rokuna Komutunu, and no survive here. Second one, and a Cyril Ramaphosa way, Zuma, pushing out. Due to what? Negligence, unemployment, this, and the financial scams, baby under Zuma. And no one yet came, Mr. Obakaya, jailing in 2 years. That time, no, you see the xenophobic attack to divert attention of the South African judiciary and then the noise, his popularity. Anytime a problem, Baba Zuma, no. It is the same thing around Cyril Ramaphosa. Obaye unpopular during the first regime. The first regime, the first 5 years, and then Ramaphosa here. You confess Sika, which is the matter to see, say, original impeachment. Sika over 4 million pounds, on the farm. Sika over 5 billion South African rands, on the farms. Dollars from me uncountable. The farms, other than the other, was say, who as a president? I said, this Kakoto Bank, and now we can buy other than farms, that issue was what? Before the election, and no money Malema. What try I saw for the Malema too? Yes, so because he's the one hammering the issue and calling for the impeachment. And to a person, she be impeachment there. Who Malema no dikakum. So they organize the ANC government of all the 3 presidents after Nelson Mandela, and we organize it anytime their government is becoming unpopular. Yeah, then they use the xenophobic street boys to go and do what they are doing, because the point is that South African president Nelson the our creating employment of even 2% to add up. National Abrafun developed the whole country. South Africa need road. Only city, on your community social services and then social infrastructure. South Africa need only their small shanty towns. And your community, there's what said, but when you're talking about government high roads, government institutions, PW, every institution, and they receive one of the best salaries as South Africans. Up to now, all welfare service, welfare, you cheer about when you South Africa, cheer and cracker, almost free school education. And to we are president, or problem, they say, what's your whole Julia, Juma? I will be anywhere, what is South Africa, Juma? Ghana for 90% of the Ghanaians, the money member, meaning said will be a bishop. Where suffer, that was Ghana. I also saw South Africa, or no Musa hairdresser. Ghana need all South Africa beyond Mako mechanics. We mechanics here, Puma, and Lucano. You need South African mechanic in the neighborhood like let's say Dansuman, who never could be my face a car tie. Our one area, Congo, Cameroon, Ghana, Nigeria, all their mechanics. In Juma, Kwaji, and Juma. Woman, address in South Africa, need get DNY. It's been a good chroma. Moko jungle South Africa forget Abetna. And in Yama, Omuja Chroma. Muncha Bakuko in Tribo. Muncha Bakuko in wait to fix it. Dana for the fix one week. And in a person who South Africa, Nibabia, ya, what charity Dankat. Then yes, you charity Dankat said, and then a cat is not true. Because they didn't have Abrafuna woman Bomuti. And Abrafunu no Bianco Uncle Bochi, Mali for Uncle Bochi, Ghana for Uncle Bochi. Wait of today, I buy a wait. South Africa need better wigger. Sanya Ghana near or no Bana Mukomo bin Shamano. And your Nigeria no Mobin Shamano. And your Cote d'Ivoire no Mobin Shamano. Because there's no South African hairdresser. Fine work in the Juma. Now you're talking about phone shops. Yeah. You're quite cheap. Nigeria for the phone shops in now. You're quite there because the water Ghana, Namia Fiua. I'm not talking about the feeling Yama said, yeah. Nemo can stop. That was circle. Yeah, phone say I was a circle. Phone say I was a circle. That I'm not Ghana for boys in a way. They didn't like it. They saw phone business as no nothing. And a lot of Oniji Kai and Omkoji. And now, and yes, you who say, phone business come. You're quite Tito Lena. You're bringing as much as many as nearly 5 to 10,000 active boys and girls. Are run in the phone industry. How many of them are Nigerians? Good number of them. Afe Nyako, Yapamu. There be. Then in Nigeria for phone shops. There be. Bigger shops, smaller shops in your latter phone there. Omkwa Naji shops in Gumbia Mahagana. Yapamu. There be. In South Africa. Was in Nigeria for Mema at the Toka Mumuma. South Africa was a latter for Edu Mumabaga in Nigeria. Ebe big the video. Home video guests in South Africa for guests. And their boys are the most laziest in the world. They're jealous and yes, of course. They don't work. Because white man, who baby or farm near there, or the South African needs to find a Juma. Or bad there, at the actual because Jumano, union is strong. It will be a Juma 2-3 days, a pair. Or so I run your Juma beam. Broni ni ntimi nyina di. Enso say tianeka. Ejita na tie de na won fawo. Into government offices, civil services, what were ben the police? What were ben the what were a doctors that Omia Home Fiako? I don't know more Palm Street, say woman by Dan, Omo come hospital, Palm doctors. I don't know more come English schools, South African schools, one way English country, Bruniama, South African black permanent English near the chair. What did they do? And you can't afford a question South Africa post Nelson Mandela. Mandela by 94, or by Ghanaian tickets. Nigeria for Mombi. Till today as we speak, boys didn't quite a seminar. One way or the other, home English master was a Ghanaian. I don't know Domunko Pamu. Why don't they sack their professionals? You were orthopedic surgeon, one of the best in the world. Where Ghanaian or South Africa, me money, but we're one of the best in the world. I don't know Domunko Pamu. So you look at this, say, they choose and pick what they want to do. Because, say, a certain president called Cyril Ramaphosa or impeachment. He started last year when he was about to lose election. And we a nationalist approach said, no, we trigger boys from a chief. Say, I want to say, and what did that to go through election or the winning year? So say impeachment in Abba. Look at the correspondence and look at the one Melema problem opposed to push agenda at any tool. And Melema so expose you because he's always the one holding the evidences of Nyaman go pushing the South African administration over on a crime. No, so you can't have $4 million up to now dollars, £4 million in this scam won't justify it. And you know, the xenophobic attack in Abba, they raised the bar of security of the country. How did they raise the bar? When they raised the bar, a state of emergency. Or better television, so Mamon Ghana for. And you Oma, Mamunka Nigeria for, and you Oma, Mamunka will say, where is the African Union? Which country in Africa? We've had Tunisia uprising. We've had Egypt near that, and you Oma among themselves, only two Omo government. That is the difference in it. Arab Spring. Arab Spring go and Nigeria in Mono. Arab Spring go and accuse Ghana and Libya. But xenophobic attack of its day, modern day, in the whole entire Africa, is a country